Welcome to the March 18th electronic meeting of the Ann Arbor Transportation Commission. This meeting is being held electronically, but we intend to conduct the meeting similarly to an in-person meeting. Public comment will be available via telephone or Zoom only. To speak during any of the public comment opportunities, please call 833-548-0282. Enter the meeting ID 966-2488-9458. This information is also available on the published agenda in the public notes section of the city website and on the broadcast of this meeting on CTN channel 16. This meeting was called to order at 7:01. I will now hand it over to Ariana for the roll call.
Thanks, Kate. Okay. I will now call roll. Commissioner Conway let me know that she will be most likely late or potentially absent for tonight's meeting. Please say here and from where you are dialing in when your name is called. Councilmember Briggs.
Here in Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Here, Superior Township.
Commissioner Commissioner Dunlap.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Flewelling.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Hadamaki.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Hulk.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Here, Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Keeler.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Lee.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Segar.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Margolis. McCready.
Here from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Reed.
Here from Pittsfield Township.
And Commissioner Stuka. Okay, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ariana. There's two items on the consent agenda, approval of the agenda and approval of the minutes. Are there any proposed modifications to the consent agenda? Hearing no modifications, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move to approve.
Okay, and then Brett, do I say who approved or who
Yeah,
moved?
you say moved by so-and-so and then seconded by somebody different. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So moved by Commissioner Keeler. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Hadamaki. And please raise your hands if you are in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Or say yes, yes.
4, 6. Thank you. I'll take notes this time. It'll be smoother in April. Okay. We will move now on to public comment. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes. Reminder to call the number at the top of the agenda and enter the meeting ID or connect via Zoom. Is there anyone, Ariana, who is here for public comment?
Yeah, I'm showing 3 hands raised. Let me see. Unfortunately, it doesn't give me an order of who raised their hands first. So I apologize to those who wish to make public comment. Let's start with Adam Goodman. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. I'll allow you to talk. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and then I will give you a 30-second warning before your time is up.
Hello, this is Adam Goodman speaking to you from the 5th Ward. I wanted to just briefly address the Washtenaw reconfiguration project that was presented, I think, last month. I see there's an item on the agenda about MDOT road reconfiguration. The agenda didn't have any details, so I'm not completely sure if that's talking about Washtenaw, but I'll talk about Washtenaw. Some of you know that I've been quite critical of MDOT in the past, but this is a case where I think they deserve nothing but deep appreciation from us for bringing this project forward, and doing the working proactively to have their project help meet the safety and multimodal transportation goals of the city. Many of you also know that I have frequently been an advocate for high quality connected bike infrastructure throughout the city. And of course, it's always disappointing when you have a road segment that, due to sort of geometric and physical constraints, cannot meet the needs of every possible group of users. But I think this is a case where on Washtenaw, the priority must be transit. Washtenaw has the most frequent, sees the most frequent bus service of, I believe, any corridor in the entirety of Southeast Michigan. I guess maybe except for U of M's buses on Fuller. And, it's been the conversation about building out BRT and speeding up and increasing the quality of this service has been a conversation for a really long time. And so it's incredibly exciting to see some opportunities moving forward to actually start realizing that goal. And by the way, if you're not aware, MDOT is also looking at a few other parts of this corridor and working with the ride on potential bus lanes through the US 23 interchange, as well as heading east from Carpenter. So, it's great to see a plan, maybe finally starting to come together after, at least a decade, maybe much more than that. So I'm really excited about the possibility of a bus lane on Washtenaw, and I hope you are too. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, we also have Adam, Jaskis. Sorry for butchering your last name. I'm going to allow you to talk. You will have 3 minutes, and then I will give you a 30-second warning. Okay.
Hello, this is Adam Jaskevich, calling from the 4th Ward. I would like to echo what Adam Goodman said about bus lanes on Washtenaw. I agree that the geometry of that diagonal segment of Washtenaw is it's not wide enough for bike lanes and bus lanes. So I think bus lanes are the important thing to have there, and I'm excited to see that. The other thing I would like to mention, this is also bus related. I'm not sure. A few of you might be aware. I'm sure that Commissioner Carpenter is aware that Scioto Township has some budget snafus, and they are trying to figure out how to fund the Route 30 out into Scioto Township, runs out to Zeb Road, to the Meyer out there, as well as CVS, the IHA and Michigan Medicine West Arbor campuses, and a number of other destinations that I'm sure are important to people living in Ann Arbor. I'm not sure that there is much that this body can do about that, but I figured that it would be good for people in Ann Arbor to be aware of this issue, and the possibility of losing fixed route service on Jackson between the city limits and Zeb Road. This is the Route 30 bus. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. We also have Kirk with his hand raised. So again, Kirk, you will have 3 minutes to speak, and I will let you know when you have 30 seconds left.
Thank you. Kirk Westfall, 3505 Charter Place in the Second Ward. I'm calling because I'm concerned that road designs are being proposed by city staff and being passed by city council that, to me, do not qualify at all as Vision Zero compliant. And I believe this is the appropriate body to intervene. For example, a couple of weeks ago, City Council budgeted for the reconstruction of Packard just south of downtown. And while certainly that's an improvement over its current state, Vision Zero does not contemplate just improvements or just reducing speeds. As you know, a key tenet of Vision Zero is that since mistakes are a given and our road design should assume that mistakes will continue to be made, a motorist running a red light, a child letting go of a parent's hand. This is why we show that chart with the fatality rates of car speeds at 20, 30, and 40 miles per hour. And any place there's a chance of conflict, car speeds must be limited by design to 20 miles per hour. The speed limit for the new Packard design is set at 25 miles per hour, which in theory could be fine as long as intersections and other conflict points with vulnerable road users force motorists to go no faster than 20 miles per hour. But the design that was proposed and passed gave no indication of forcing those 20 mile per hour speeds. And Packard is a tier 1 crash corridor. So if we have any chance of fulfilling our commitment of 0 deaths and serious injuries on our roads, at a minimum, I believe all future reconstructions and redesigns must adhere to Vision Zero principles. And even if we do everything correctly, unfortunately, we'll be suffering losses of our friends and neighbors on our streets for years due to the magnitude of the redesigns required. But I would just ask this body to assert its role as an advisory commission by denying any future road designs that come before you where motor speeds are not limited to 20 miles per hour at conflict points. And I guess I would also just ask if you do not think that this is appropriate or achievable, then I think we need to reassess if Vision Zero really still is the goal. And many of us would appreciate an honest discussion about that. So thank you very much for your service and look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Kirk.
Ariana, is that all of the public speakers?
Yes, Kate.
Okay. Thank you to the 3 individuals who came to share their thoughts with us this evening, and also thank you to those who forwarded emails. You please refer to your agenda packet for copies of those. Commissioner McCready, I was jealous that you were invited to speak in Miami, and they didn't want all of us to come down too. But a testament
It's still available because I can't go. So if somebody wants to go to Miami and speak, it's all you can go.
well, a testament to your expertise and how lucky we are to have you.
Thank you.
We do have a packed agenda, so we'll roll right into our business topics for tonight. We actually have 3 voting items, and so I will start by turning it over to Erin Donnelly, who's joined us to talk about the joint statement on sidewalk gap filling implementation.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me and see me? I'm having a slow internet issue tonight. Great. My name is Erin Donnelly. I'm the Environmental Services Manager for the City of Ann Arbor. I'm also the liaison to the Sustainability Commission. And our meeting this month on March 10th, during that meeting, we passed a resolution to approve the joint statement on sidewalk gap implementation work. And so after that, we have forwarded it to you all for your consideration and hopefully approval tonight. So I have a short presentation that I gave. Apologies, I did not change the date, but I gave this presentation to the Sustainability Commission on March 10th, and I'll run through it for you all as well to introduce the resolution that we'll talk about here in a minute. So with that, Here's my brief agenda. Very briefly, the Sustainability Commission, of course, is the merger of the Energy Commission and the Environmental Commission, which happened last year. And under the new format of the Sustainability Commission, we follow a staff-led work plan. And this year we're focusing kind of on 4 priority topics, and the sidewalk gap filling is one of those 4 priority topics for this year. So a little background, this topic actually came out of the Environmental Commission when concerns were raised regarding loss of tree canopy as a result of sidewalk projects. And there was a initial request to develop a guidance document for sidewalk app implementation. A staff considered this. However, each project is so site specific, as I'm sure many of you know, and there are many variables involved. And so staff didn't feel like this would be a helpful or useful tool. However, staff acknowledged that there was room to provide more information to the public on city practices and the various trade-offs that need to be considered when designing new sidewalks. And then through this process, the group also identified some areas where city practices could be improved. So the work group was tasked with working, the Sustainability Commission, I should say, was tasked with working with the Transportation Commission and city staff in creating a joint statement of support for sidewalk app implementation to be used as a public engagement tool for advancing sidewalk projects. And the critical success factor is the shared understanding of the trade-offs in implementing sidewalk projects. A little bit about the work group structure. So we met 4 times between October and February. On the city side, you know, most of these folks, Ariana and Nick. Then we had Nick Jacobs, who's the urban and community forester, and then Jasmine is our community engagement specialist, and then of course myself. And then on the Sustainability Commission side, we had Commissioners Mitchell, Curtis, and Graham. And then on the Transportation Commission side, we had Commissioners Hope and Hatamaki. I said those incorrectly. So the major themes discussed, this slide was put together by Commissioner Mitchell, so I'll do my best to summarize from my perspective the major themes. So the group spent a lot of time talking about the design phase of new sidewalks, which is really the phase where environmental impacts are considered. Engineering and forestry work closely together on evaluation of tree impacts and on options to address potential adverse impacts. So the city can explore alternative design strategies to retain healthy trees, which can include curbing sidewalks, a change of curb location, or an easement to allow the sidewalk onto private property. However, alternative design can add cost and complexity to a project, you know, which must be weighed against the loss of a tree, which of course provides myriad of ecosystem services and other ways to improve the quality of life. So this is something staff take very seriously, and we try to do everything we can to save a tree where feasible. Sometimes they're just, and then as many of you know as well, sometimes there just isn't the community support for the alternative design. Either that resident does not want an easement on their property or for another reason. So sometimes we do need to remove a tree, and when a tree needs to be removed, that impact is mitigated by the collection of a canopy loss fee, which funds the planting of additional street trees to offset the loss of that tree. So the work group outcomes, of course, is the joint statement itself, which we'll be discussing here in a second. We tried to highlight, through the joint statement, the work group tried to highlight the shared values of complete sidewalk networks and a robust tree canopy. We talked about how these values are centered in our city plans. Vision Zero, of course, focuses on eliminating traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries, which I know you guys spend a lot of your time looking at, where complete sidewalk networks are a key strategy of that. We have A20 and Vision Zero both have a shared goal of reducing single vehicle occupancy trips by 50%. And on the tree canopy side, we know trees provide a number of ecosystem services. And then we also have an urban and forestry management plan which sets specific canopy coverage goals. In addition, the city-owned trees are treated as stormwater infrastructure. We do own those trees, and those are our assets. And so, when we do plant new trees, those come out of our stormwater budget. Through the joint statement, we also tried to define the key concern of the tree removal and canopy reduction to make way for sidewalks. And we wanted to lastly provide information on the city's approach to sidewalk gap filling projects and how we balance the transportation safety, mobility, and environmental stewardship. And then out of this process, 3 staff commitments. You'll notice 3 staff commitments in the joint statement itself. The first of which is to strengthen public education. So the work group identified a gap in public knowledge regarding sidewalk design decisions. And so we created a fact sheet to be given to the public in an attempt to close that knowledge gap and provide clear information on the city's approach. The work group shared the importance of providing specific design options that have been successful in the past. So again, curbing sidewalks, easements, and bumping curbs. And that fact sheet was finalized earlier this month, and so that will be shared with city staff to use in future projects. The second commitment was improving internal processes. So upon approval of the joint statement, the city will update our internal evaluation workflow for capital projects. And then the third commitment is to review transportation policies. So Melissa and I talked briefly about this, and she agreed it would be beneficial to identify additional opportunities for environmental considerations in transportation policy. We know the land use comp plan, for example, was just passed this week, and so that will require updates to city policy kind of across the board. So that could be one potential opportunity to get those to implement additional environmental considerations into transportation policy. So with that, I guess I'll ask Nick or Brett or Peter, anything to add as you all participated, and Ariana, excuse me. Yeah, Brett, go ahead.
Yeah, so as a member of the subcommittee, I could say it was encouraging that we went into it thinking that there were going to have to, some people thought there were going to have to be processes that needed to be changed, and we'd have to provide new guidelines and change ways of doing things, but it seemed like every step of the way, the people that had those concerns and questions had them very capably answered by Nick and the foresters and other city staff. And I think everybody came away from this feeling very happy about what the city has already been doing, what the processes already are. So it's more of an education effort. And so it's good that the outcomes are around education, providing the fact sheet. And I think it'll be useful. But I guess it's a good point that we didn't really identify big, hey, we got to change the way, what are we doing? We were doing this things in a bad way. I guess I was encouraged by that, and I'm happy that there aren't any large changes that need to be made with how city staff already handles sidewalks versus trees. So thank you. Thanks for putting the whole subcommittee together, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Peter.
Thanks for the presentation, and it was a good summary, I think. I guess my comment that I would like to make is that I'm afraid we haven't shared this statement broadly enough, either with the Transportation Commission or with our frequent transportation participants who watch this meeting and stay aware of transportation topics. Like it wasn't attached to the agenda tonight, and I'm a little uncomfortable voting on it tonight. And so I would like to propose that we postpone the vote until our next meeting.
Oh, yeah, that apologies. I didn't realize that had not been shared. So that makes sense to me.
Eric, did you want to add something?
No, I was going to say the same thing. I haven't seen the statement yet, and I was curious to see it.
Okay, so does like staff, is that the plan then, that we would distribute the statement to the commission and bring it back next month to approve?
We certainly can do that. And we had a last minute cancellation. That's why we were fortunate Aaron was available to give this presentation now. So we can certainly vote on it next week now that or next month now that you've had the presentation and know what the whole process was that was followed to get to this statement. So I apologize for that not being attached. We edited on Monday.
I believe we do need to make a motion for the postponement of the vote. If there's no further discussion, I didn't want to rush the discussion, but I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget to make that postponement.
Does anyone want to add anything regarding the discussion before we move to postpone?
I would just quickly add, so the joint statement itself is meant to be a standalone document. And so like the body of the resolution is quite short. So that obviously like the meat of what you would be reviewing is the joint statement. And then there's a few paragraphs in the body of the resolution to just introduce the joint statement.
Great, thank you. Eric, did you have anything else?
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're fine. Would anyone like to move to postpone the vote? Looks like Commissioner Hoke is moving to postpone the vote. Do I have a second? Commissioner Hadamaki is seconding it. And we will move on to the next. Thank you so much, Aaron.
I think we have to vote on it, right?
Oh,
We do have to vote on it.
first time. Thank you for your assistance. So I'll get this.
All right, I did that earlier.
Commissioner Taylor, I'll get it right this time though. Please say yes or raise your hand if you vote in favor.
Yes.
Postponement. Okay, thank you. So moved.
Anyone opposed? Anyone
Yeah.
opposed?
Okay, yeah, just sorry to interrupt.
Go right
I
ahead.
think it was unanimous, but it's probably good to offer the opportunity to vote no. I'm not sure, but you know.
There's no dissension allowed under the new chair, Brad. Would anyone like to vote no? Okay, so moved. We will move on to the next business item. So as you all recall, we had very robust and productive discussion at the last meeting regarding the MDOT road reconfiguration. We do, however, need to consider this resolution, which Commissioner McCready will talk about. This will keep the reconfiguration moving at pace through the necessary approvals. So please go ahead.
Thanks, Kate. Commissioner Flowing, sorry. We apologize that this was not attached as well. We were still discussing it with MDOT on wording till about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So I will read the resolution. You already had the presentation. And so essentially we're sending a resolution to council to support MDOT repaving East Huron Street, Washtenaw Avenue from Main Street to East Stadium Boulevard. Attached for your review and approval, please find a resolution to support MDOT repaving 2.8 miles of I-94 Business Loop, East Huron Street, Washtenaw Avenue from Main Street to East Stadium Boulevard in Ann Arbor to include bus-only lanes and other safety improvements between South University Avenue and Stadium Boulevard. The work planned for 2027 will include resurfacing the existing pavement, replacing existing sidewalk ramps, and addressing Americans with Disabilities Act upgrades as required. Work will also include pedestrian safety upgrades, including a new mid-block crosswalk near Wayne Street and pedestrian hybrid beacon near 2350 Washtenaw Avenue, signalized intersection pedestrian push buttons with leading pedestrian interval and hardened center lines where feasible. MDOT is also proposing a reduction to the number of travel lanes that would support right-sizing the roadway from South University Avenue to Stadium Boulevard. The preferred option of the commission is the alternative that includes 1 bus-only lane from South University to Toomey Road, 2 bus-only lanes from near Toomey Road to near Stadium Boulevard. This was prepared by myself, Melissa McCready. It's been reviewed by or will be reviewed by Jordan Roberts and Milton Mahoney Jr. Whereas the road repaving provides safer pedestrian crossings, enhanced pedestrian facilities, crash reduction, and extended road service life. Whereas a detailed review of concepts was undertaken by MDOT to reduce problems with speeding and crashes. Whereas including bus-only lanes is in alignment with the AAATA/the RIDE 2045 plan. Whereas road right sizing is shown to reduce excessive speeds and crash severity for all roadway users with increased benefit to vulnerable users. Whereas over the past 5 years, City Council has reinforced a commitment to Vision Zero and prioritizing human lives and safety. Whereas this resolution is in alignment with City Council's commitment to Vision Zero and advancing initiatives that enhance safety and accessibility of the right-of-way for vulnerable and at-risk users. Resolved that City Council approves support of MDOT repaving East Huron Street, Washtenaw Avenue from Main Street to East Stadium Boulevard to include bus-only lanes and other safety improvements between South University Avenue and Stadium Boulevard. So with that, I give it back to you, Chair Flewellen.
Thank you. I see we already have a hand, so that means we'll have some discussion. Commissioner Zucker.
Yeah, I'm just not super familiar with this area. Is there any way we can bring up a map to show where Twomey Road and all of where the changes would be?
I'm going to look to Cynthia to help with that because she is a lot more familiar with where this is than I am.
Sure, give me just a moment. I can pull that up on Google Maps.
Yeah, Cynthia usually has 16 tabs open, and one of them is usually the map.
While she's doing that, so it sounds like we were gonna do, the last time that we got a presentation on this, it was one south/east only bus lane, and now there's a section where we may have bi-directional bus lanes for a period.
Correct. That was in the presentation that they gave last month. That MDOT provided in last month's presentation that they gave. They're adding 2 bus lanes where the road right-of-way allows for it. And then there's the one bus lane in one direction. I believe it's outbound. Matt, you can help me with that to accommodate the more demand, the higher demand buses, the heavier ridership. Matt, am I getting that correct?
Yeah, generally, where the right of way is really narrow, the only thing that could fit would be one outbound bus lane. That's where congestion is worse, where the bus lane would have the most positive impact. South of Toomey Road, I don't know if I'm saying it right either, down to Stadium, the right of way widens up quite a bit, and
Toomey's our
there's
sister city,
one on
right?
each side.
Two beginnings. Two beginnings.
So while we're waiting for Cynthia's map, Commissioner Jacobson, I think you were next.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, the resolution includes some details that during last month's presentation seemed like they were still under discussion. And actually, I'll say that a little bit more forcefully. I mean, it seemed like last month's presentation, we were told that there would be many more opportunities to iterate on the design process. And then I'm not sure I feel comfortable with the resolution then including details in writing that we were told last month were still still in development.
I believe based on the feedback MDOT received, this is why my understanding was that there was support for the bus only lanes. And
yeah. Oh, yeah, just to be clear, I think that is correct. But there were some additional, so for example, push button signals was one thing that we talked about
yeah,
at some length. Well, right, but we also talked about the problems with push buttons, right? And so
I'm sorry, I wasn't there, so can you let me know what your concern is on the push buttons?
In terms of the main design that the commission was, I think, mostly supportive of the key design feature of the bus lane. But I mean, we've had this conversation a few times as a commission of automatic pedestrian signals versus push button signals.
Okay,
So
so
it was a little jarring to see that in writing
okay, well, we
specifically.
do the push button because they're accessible. We are updating all of our intersections to have push buttons. So that is a request from us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
To-
we have
for the
Sorry.
accessibility. It's for audible pedestrian signals, so we can add that piece of it for our vision impaired. So all of our signals will eventually have push buttons.
Yeah, we just I'll just speak for myself, but
Okay.
I know that there are other commissioners who have voiced the same concern that we haven't received a satisfactory answer to the question of why those things need to go together and why automatic signals and auditory signals are mutually exclusive. And I just feel like this has come up many times, and I have yet to receive an answer that makes sense.
Cynthia, do you want to address that question?
Yes, I can address that question. I want to verify. I hope I am sharing my my map.
I'll stop sharing mine.
So
Sorry.
No,
We can see your
I
map.
don't know that we're both showing. I think I took over.
Yep.
But the intersection with Toomey is right here in the middle. So I have a pin dropped on that, and then we're going up to South University is the segment, and then all the way down to Washington. So Toomey is in the middle-ish. So as Melissa had indicated, MDOT, as well as ourselves, are including push buttons as part of our standard design practice for traffic signals. Push buttons are the way that we utilize accessible pedestrian signals, and we provide full access for anyone who is visually impaired. The push buttons also provide vibrotactile response, and so that you can feel when you have detection, and they are a vital part of signal design and the public regulations for right-of-way that are out of the access board. So whenever we do upgrades to signalized intersections, that equipment needs to be included. There are a lot of locations where we may continue to have a recall set for our pedestrian signals during the day. But as we are looking towards removing flash schedules from our system, we are also able to utilize push buttons for overnight operations so that our signals can rest in all red, and we can serve a pedestrian as soon as they show up when we are in those overnight or low volume operating
Cynthia,
conditions.
could you address Commissioner Jacobson's question, which was, I think, is it mutually exclusive? Like, can you have a push button that also has an automatic walk signal? Because I think that those serve two different purposes, right? So I think that was her question, because I think that was
Yes, Chair Flewing,
Yeah.
thank you for asking me to clarify, because when I say a pedestrian recall, that is how we program the signal in the internal workings of the signal, so that a pedestrian phase would come up. As you're referring to automatically, it is because we have told the signal to always have a pedestrian recall during a certain segment of the day. So I just want to stress that this equipment is absolutely vital for accessible design at signalized intersections.
But to clarify, also capable of having the pedestrian recall at the same time?
Also capable at having a pedestrian push button does not mean you are not able to utilize a pedestrian recall during a time of day where you will have really high pedestrian volumes, or at any particular time of day, but they having the buttons actually functioning are incredibly important for those off-peak conditions where we want to be able to serve pedestrians quicker.
So the yes is the answer. They are not mutually exclusive. The signals are on recall most of the day, but when the signal is in like an off flash for red, or if we want to preempt a flashing yellow at left turn arrow, the push button is there to provide the pedestrian the priority.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to try to go in order of what I saw, and apologies if I get it wrong, but Commissioner Hoke, I think you were next.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the clarification on the push buttons. I'm not in favor of using them to trigger walk signals, but I understand the role that they play with the auditory feedback that they give people who need it. So, I mean, I'm okay including them. I just would like to make sure that we're using them the right way. That is a little bit maybe secondary to my comment that I'd like to make about this. I mean, it's been a month, but I do not remember a plan that was shared with us that had a bus lane on one side and also a bus lane on both sides. Like, I don't remember that. I don't have a serious problem with it, I guess. And I'm generally okay with supporting this lane reconfiguration that MDOT is doing. I'm glad they're doing it. I guess I would just like to offer up that it would be easier for me to make decisions and do votes if I can see what I'm going to be voting on in advance. And that doesn't preclude the team from working on it up until the last minute. If it's posted and then you come to the meeting with some highlighted changes that have been made since it was posted, like I guess I don't mind going over a couple of lines during the meeting, but this is a substantial document that I would really prefer to read in advance and take some time thinking about. So all that being said, I would like to ask a question. Does MDOT need our support tonight? Can this wait, or is it critical for them to get the city of Ann Arbor on record as being behind that tonight? That's my question. Thank you.
We were hopeful that it would be approved tonight, and then we could take it to council in April, so that keeps MDOT on track for finishing design and getting it implemented next year.
Commissioner Zucker? And you guys can tell me if I'm pronouncing your names wrong, and I'll try to fix that.
No, you've got it exactly correct. My question was about the push buttons. We also talked last month about leading pedestrian intervals and whether or not that would be something that was going to be throughout the corridor here. So I wasn't sure if that was something that had been finalized with MDOT here, whether we were going to get the LPIs throughout. And then also there was some discussion about a flashing yellow arrow that is in existence on this corridor currently, and whether that was going to be able to be resolved as part of this work. And while I've got the mic, I would just say, I don't know if there was like a problem with Legistar or something, but like there was nothing posted for this. We had like a light agenda, but I couldn't find anything. So maybe it was like a Legistar problem. But maybe that's what happened.
Cynthia, are you able to address the LPI or the flashing yellow? I'm not familiar enough with what the plan was for this quarter.
Yeah, so last month's presentation was really a lot of the same presentation that they gave us internally as staff. So they were presenting their concepts, and they were looking for support so that receiving information and input about our desires and needs. I do not believe they are far enough along in the design process to actually have some of those details together to be able to share in the form of plans. My understanding is that they're looking for us to show support of the design so that they can then have internal discussion within the department and with the individuals that they need to have discussions with, that we are supportive of these lane use changes so that they can move forward with design.
Commissioner Jacobson?
I just wanted a chance to close the loop on my initial comments. I appreciate, Cynthia, you underscoring the mechanics of the signals, and I apologize that it's taken me now 3 times to fully integrate my understanding of that, but I think I now have a much better sense of how to move forward with that issue and that it doesn't affect this particular um, text that we're looking at right now. But I want to underscore, I still feel uncomfortable because last month I did not get the sense that we were then going to be asked to like vote on something this month after last month's presentation, or to basically give our consent to move forward with specific details that really seemed like they were still under discussion.
Commissioner Briggs?
Thanks. And
Sorry.
certainly hearing folks' sort of hesitation and desire to have seen, something come back to us around what this final design was going to look like before providing the approval, based on what was shared with us. It sounds fairly consistent with what our advice and what commission's advice and recommendations were last month. And I am wondering, based on the feedback, that this is trying to keep a project moving forward, and also one that, quite honestly, it's really exciting to see MDOT introducing designs like this here. And so I'm inclined to want to be able to keep them on their schedule. And, that's if there, sometimes what happens in other commissions, and I've seen this happen in planning commission at times, is since there's still some more details to be worked out, if there's pieces that could be, voiced here that the transportation, that staff could continue working on before it comes to city council, that provides a little bit more guidance on that, and then it keeps the process moving forward. But also articulates that there were some, some unresolved sort of questions that were out there, and some things the Transportation Commission was looking for.
Thank you. I mean, I do think we could address sort of, I think there's two issues. One is kind of the safety features, which I think all of us kind of feel like that should be a non-exclusive list, and that we want more input into it. And that seems like an achievable goal within the framework of this resolution. So I think that's one piece. Like, there's a pedestrian island that I'd asked for that's not listed there. I'm sure there's others from other people on the call. But then there is also the issue of the 2 bus lanes, which I think there's consensus that just didn't come out in the presentation, unless, feel free anyone to jump in. So I do think that that's maybe a slightly different issue. Commissioner Hadamaki, I think you're up next.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of interpret the ask here tonight for the vote as, approving their broad concepts. Obviously, we're not approving a design because there is no design in front of us. So I'm happy to approve the concepts as presented, but if there's an opportunity to be presented the more detailed design as that happens later this year, because I think they're not withholding it from us. I think they just are not, they're asking us for a vote at along the way where maybe we're not accustomed to voting on something. So I guess I'm happy to like Erica said, to keep this moving and encourage them to come back when they have more design done and are ready for more input. Um, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I do have some of the same questions and concerns, and would like to see more fun. The designs as it moves along. They might also be of the opinion that this is our road and you should be lucky that we're even talking to you at all. So I don't really know how to interpret the whole project because it is their road, I guess. But I definitely want to keep them moving in the direction that they're talking about in the resolution and hope that they come back and engage with us further. That's my take on it.
Thank you. Commissioner Hope?
I would like to vote on this tonight. Can we please get the text of it back in front of us so that we can spend some more time with it before we approve it? And I guess I'd like to recommend at this point that we put the time into it right now, and let's go through the resolved clauses and see which of them we all agree on. It may be that we agree on all of them. But I think we need to spend some more time with this document before we approve it. And I just think that has to happen tonight. So actually, I'm sorry, I said resolve clauses. I think we should start with the whereas clauses first, though. I'm sorry.
So the first one is whereas the road repaving provides safe pedestrian crossings, enhanced pedestrian facilities, crash reduction, and extended road service life. That is taken right off of MDOT's website for this project.
Okay. All right.
Did you have any further questions on that?
No, I don't on that one.
Commissioner Zecker?
You're going to hear my son rolling some Hot Wheels cars in here. So, yeah, I mean, looking at this, it's actually a pretty simple resolution. The resolve clause is where it's at, and it says we're basically recommending city council approves support of it, including bus-only lanes and other safety improvements. So if it's inappropriate to get more specific than that, like that sounds pretty good. I agree that we only got one bus lane last month. If we get two this month, that's better. And I think it's fine to vote on this tonight. If it's something that's not time sensitive, I would much rather spend some time with it. But given the scope of this and given the time sensitive nature, I'm fine with voting on it tonight.
And just to be clear, this is a resolution that we're just supporting MDOT repaving this road. And we can certainly invite MDOT back once the design is a little further along to present that and we can ask them to, take additional feedback. I'm sure they would be open to that with no problem. So I want to make sure that you understand we can have them come back. I'm sure they'll work with us on that.
Are we looking at the only resolved clause?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, we've got a lot of people that want to speak. So Commissioner Jacobson.
Yes, I think now looking at this again and seeing that there's only one resolved clause, I feel more comfortable with it, but I would appreciate you scrolling up so that we can look at that other section again. And I'm wondering, yeah, the background, thank you. Do we need can we edit this? I'm very unclear on that.
This was edited by MDOT. This is the language that they preferred. So
Okay.
that's why
Okay.
I had drafted one that was not quite as detailed, and then they put in a lot of detail. So I was
Okay.
deferring to MDOT on what they were looking for in the resolution. I got it at 3:54 p.m. today.
Understood. Okay. I want to I think I appreciate my fellow commissioners weighing in on whether or not we should vote on this tonight, I'm feeling more comfortable about voting on it tonight. I will say that I do have some very small edits that would make me feel more comfortable with it if that I don't know if that's something that we can give or not, but basically in the second sentence in our background where it says work will also include pedestrian safety upgrades, including, I'm wondering if we can, instead of saying including, we could say such as, just to basically indicate that the design is not finalized. And then the final one, yeah, I'm still not sure how we got 2 bus lanes, but I also don't, I'm not opposed to that either. But yeah, that would be my one thing is that such as instead of including, but I'm not gonna die on that hill.
Okay.
Thank you. So Commissioner McCree, is that a possibility to make that change?
Just putting such as instead of including. I don't think they'll object to that.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Thank you. Have a motion. I'd like to move the approval of the resolution as currently presented, and that staff invite MDOT back at this time to provide a project update when appropriate.
Point of order, I don't think we're done with discussion yet.
I don't have my Roberts rules here, so thankfully Brett's on the line. Brett, does a motion quash further discussion?
I think Erica would know more, but I think if you want to force a vote, you have to have a vote to force the vote, is what I recall.
Oftentimes, I mean, what we do is before we're talking about a resolution at council, we move it and then somebody seconds it and then we're in discussion afterwards. So really, our pre-discussion here is, I think it's more appropriate that we're having discussion after it's been moved. So,
and I am not trying to quash discussion, just move it along.
Yep. So this, this puts us on the track of
well, does anyone want to second it then?
I shall.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I have some thoughts, but
right ahead.
I'm jumping in front of Pete, so Pete, I don't, is that okay? So I mean, this is a background memo, so there's nothing binding about it. It's just providing background for us. The resolution and the resolve clause is what's binding in this. Personally, I was glad to see MDOT suggesting language that was providing more commitment that they were interested in ensuring that, that we knew that they wanted to put in a mid-block crosswalk. So I find that to be promising rather than something that we might want to push back on myself. So I do think we might want to have a little more conversation around that. I understand that things are not, folks are just saying that we haven't seen that final design. And so there's just a little discomfort on that. I think that, additionally, while we in Ann Arbor have these conversations about road right sizing and reducing travel lanes and improving pedestrian safety and all such things. Not all communities do. And so MDOT probably feels a lot more comfortable moving forward in the design phase with having a little bit of support behind them from Transportation Commission and Council that is indicating that we are in support of these types of roadway improvements. So it makes sense to me that this is coming forward so that they can continue on their work. And personally, the more that we have in here, they've provided, the more comfort that gives me.
Thank you. Commissioner Hoke?
I'd like to scratch the last whereas clause. I mean, I would be ready to vote in favor of this after we've deleted that. I don't think that this is true. They confirmed in the meeting that the speed limits were not changing. The speed limits are not. Speed limits like that at crosswalks and intersections are not consistent with Vision Zero. So I would say that With the exception of that last whereas clause, I'm okay with voting for this. Should I move that we amend this statement by deleting the last whereas clause?
Think you can revise the motion to,
No, it's appropriate to say, I move to amend.
I move to amend by scratching the last last whereas clause.
we have a second.
I second.
Okay. Do we want to vote on that right now then?
There might be further discussion on it and then.
Further discussion on deletion, just on deletion of the whereas clause?
Correct.
Anybody with their hand raised want to talk about deleting the whereas clause?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we could, or I think you could just get rid of a few words and instead say something like this resolution advances initiatives that enhance blah, blah, blah. You could just get rid of the part that claims that it is in alignment with city council's commitment. Because that is right, kind of putting words in city council's mouth. And you know, my opinion would be that it does advance initiatives. I'm not even sure if you want to keep the Vision Zero part, but that would be my, you know, rather than getting rid of the entire thing. But if the vote is just entire thing or everything or nothing, then
I would like to withdraw my amendment, and maybe Brett can replace it.
That could be a friendly amendment. I think that could be a friendly change.
So does this read what you were thinking, Brett?
This is acceptable.
yeah, I just don't. I mean, you know better than any of us if it's going to get, you know, MDOT's going to pull the rug out from us, you know, after seeing this or what. But
No, I think they'll be okay. That was a whereas clause that I had added, and they were fine with. So us changing it, I don't think will be an issue. And also, just so you know, MDOT is committed to doing a speed study after the project's in to see if it makes sense to alter the speed limits.
That's not what that's not what they said during the meeting. So that's good to hear.
Okay. But that's why I'm letting you know now that they are committed to that. And I'm sorry that didn't come out in the meeting.
Okay. So Commissioner Zecker, I think you're the last raised hand before we can move to a vote or a variety of votes.
It's just for the resolved clause. It says resolved that city council approves. We're not city council, so I think we have to say resolved Transportation Commission recommends, city council approves. I don't think we can vote on city council approving something, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
This is the resolution that will be presented to city council. So you're approving this language. Because this resolution will be approved by city council. If the resolution itself is not getting approved by you, you're recommending that the resolution should go to city council and that you support it.
Okay.
All right. Would anyone like to present an all-encompassing motion regarding this?
I mean,
Really quick, I just wanted to say, Larry, you've had your hand raised, so I just wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to speak if you had any comments.
Oh, the only comment I had was just slightly off, but it was us blind guys, we prefer APS over the push button. So anyway, it was no big deal. But we do prefer APS over because we can find the crossings better.
It's valuable contribution. Thank you, Commissioner Keeler.
Commissioner Hope?
Yeah, I think we have to vote on the amendment to the whereas clause, and then we would vote on the motion to approve the sending this.
Do we have to vote on them separately, or can someone recommend this to vote on this as shown?
I move that we vote on the modification that Brett made or proposed, which is shown on the screen to the last whereas clause. I move that we adopt the last whereas clause.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say yes or raise your hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really quick. Can we stop, Melissa, can you stop sharing the screen? Because I'm going to have to see who voted.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. So all in favor, raise your hand or say yes.
Yes.
And then any opposed, raise your hand or say no. I'm not seeing any no's. So please speak up if I'm missing you. You.
Now we can entertain a motion to recommend the adoption of the resolution by City Council. Commissioner Hope? Is that
I move that we adopt it, or that we vote in favor of it, but we need discussion still if we're going to do that after the motion.
I
And
second.
Okay. The first thing I would like to ask is if our council liaison is okay with the text as it is, or do we need to change that to make it easier for her to take it to council?
I have 5 more resolve clauses I would like to suggest. No, it's all good. All good, thank you.
I meant specifically the language that says city council approves, though.
No, I think I understand the idea is that you're not approving this resolution, you're just approving the resolution going to council. So it's a little different than, sometimes you're approving a resolution that's directing us to do something. Anyway, so it works out this way. Fine.
is there any further discussion? Okay, we will move to vote. On the motion, if you're in favor, please say yes or raise your hand. If you are
Yes.
opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Ariana, did you get that?
I just wanted to confirm I was not seeing anyone against. So please speak up if you are against so that I can get that down. Seeing none. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the next business topic, also noted in the agenda as 5 minutes. The Kingsley and Ingalls resolution, Cynthia.
Yeah, yes, sorry. I believe I am sharing the resolution with you now.
Yes.
And this is an item that was presented last month. I have noticed that we also did not get this resolution linked in your packet. So our apologies for that. However, I can read this resolution out for everyone. And before I do that, I will just make a reminder to everyone that we presented this project last month. It is a utility and resurfacing project that we are hoping to also include this one-way to two-way restoration of traffic. Commissioner Flewelling, are you okay with me proceeding, or would you like to address Commissioner Hoke's question first?
Believe that Commissioner Briggs or Councilmember Briggs, you can tell me which one is better in this context, suggested that we wait for a motion in a second to discuss. So I'm going to say go ahead, and then we can see if there's a motion and then open up.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and read this out loud for everyone. So this is a resolution to approve the restoration of two-way traffic on Ingalls and Kingsley Streets. And again, we are asking Commission to endorse this and recommend that Council approve this resolution. So, memorandum attached for your review and approval. Please find this resolution to support restoration of Ingalls Street, Kingsley Street to Catherine Street, and Kingsley Street, State Street to Ingalls Street to two-way traffic. Per Chapter 126, Article 1, Section 10.2, the approval of council shall be obtained prior to the adoption of a rule or regulation concerning one-way streets. This resolution to two-way traffic is in alignment with City Council's commitment to Vision Zero, carbon reduction, and advancing initiatives that enhance safety and accessibility of the right-of-way for vulnerable and at-risk users. Our background is the Ingalls Kingsley Water Main Project, located along Kingsley Street from Detroit Street to Ingalls Street and Ingalls Street from Kingsley Street to East Huron Street, includes the following elements: water main improvements, including replacement of an aging 6-inch water main that has a history of breaks, upsizing to 12-inch water main, and creating other improvements to improve reliability and water pressure. Select stormwater system improvements and road resurfacing, curb replacement, curb bump out additions at intersections, sidewalk and ramp replacements, and restoration of the two-way configuration on Ingalls Street from Kingsley to Catherine and on Kingsley Street between State and Ingalls all contribute to speed management and Vision Zero goals. Two-way street restorations have been shown to lower vehicle speeds by reducing the visual width of the travel lane, reduce crash severity through lower speeds and less concentrated turning movements, improve access, wayfinding, and overall feel of the street, providing more options to reach a destination. Impact to vehicle travel time is minimal. Most local trips will result in shorter travel time and a reduction in vehicle miles traveled, while those traveling the full length of the corridors will encounter little change. Under staff, this is prepared by Melissa McCready, reviewed by Jordan Roberts, and approved by Milton Dehoney. In the body, whereas Ingalls and Kingsley were historically two-way streets, whereas the city is systemically restoring two-way operations to the transportation network, whereas restoration of two-way traffic and travel lane reductions are shown to reduce speeding and crash severity for all roadway users, with increased benefit to vulnerable users. Whereas restoring Ingalls and Kingsley Street to two-way traffic is in alignment with Ann Arbor moving together towards zero deaths and the A20 plan. Whereas Chapter 126, Article 1, Section 10.2, the approval of council shall be obtained prior to the adoption of a rule or regulation concerning one-way streets. Resolved that City Council approves the restoration of Ingalls and Kingsley Streets to two-way traffic.
Thank you, Cynthia. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution for adoption or recommend the resolution for adoption by City Council?
I would move, but I think Pete might have.
Yes, in the interest of time and due to the fact that this also was not shared with us in advance, I wanted to move to postpone this. And that was the motion that I wanted to make before Cynthia's presentation. So I move that we postpone until the 4/15 Transportation Commission meeting. There's a City Council meeting on 4/20 that this can be sent to 5 days after.
Is there a second to that motion? I can't see everyone.
Second,
so
Eric. Second.
would anyone like to discuss before we vote on the postponement?
If I may, real quick, just so you're aware, this will not most likely be on the council agenda on April 20th because we would need more than 5 days to get it on the agenda. It takes 2 weeks usually for a lead time for us to get it on an agenda.
I have a question. Recognize it's always definitely very helpful to be able to see these documents ahead of time, but given the fact that there was a presentation on this last month and this has been read out tonight, is there some reason for postponing this beyond just a desire to indicate that there's a desire to see these in the packet earlier? Is there something that's going to come out of that postponement?
Commissioner Hoke, I think that's probably a question for you. Go ahead.
Okay, so that yes, I would say that if you are expecting us to vote on things that are important, then I would like them to be shared in advance with me so that I can understand them. And I also want them to be shared with the public who pays attention to our agendas and to our meetings so that they have an opportunity to review them and reach out to me or to their council members or to our council liaison before voting on them. I don't think that it's a good idea to vote on things like this with no advance notice of them without some very compelling reason. And I haven't heard that this timeline of approving it on the 15th is a showstopper for this project.
Commissioner Briggs, did you still have your hand up, or was that an old hand?
Nope, sorry, old hand.
Okay. Is there anyone else before? I don't want to go before if there's anyone else who wants to speak. I will just say I understand your frustration. I would say in this instance, I do, because we had the presentation last month and we knew that this was coming, I'm willing to give a little grace on this one and keep it moving. I think the resolution is also pretty limited. So I would feel comfortable voting, but understand everyone might be in a different spot. Commissioner Jacobson?
I feel comfortable voting on this tonight, but if we do so, I do want to underscore what Commissioner Hook said about I wouldn't want this to set a precedent that we are going to vote on things that we don't see in advance. This was a problem last month as well, and I also want to underscore the sentiment that not only do we need to see these things in advance, but they need to be shared with the public in advance on the in the agenda.
So is there any more discussion on, I believe we're voting on a motion to postpone the consideration of the resolution. So any further discussion on that motion? Commissioner Briggs and then Commissioner Zucker.
And I appreciate the voicing the need for public to be able to see this and provide feedback. I think that's a really important consideration for commissions, and I really appreciate that you're raising that. I think one of the agree that it's really, it's important to see these items up on here because there was the presentation last month, because this is basically a recommendation of saying, okay, going to a two-way travel is something that you're recommending, and then it's going to come to council and there's going to be that ample time for it to be on an agenda. And public will have an opportunity to see it in that space too and provide feedback. I think there's going to be ample opportunity here for the public to be able to engage on this. And, if the commission has concerns about this going to, I think this is the appropriate time to voice those concerns. Not sending a resolution forward recommending it. But otherwise, I think this will have the opportunity for the public to weigh in.
Commissioner Zucker?
So we heard last agenda item, the reason for kind of making sure that we voted on it tonight is that we're kind of on a timetable to make sure that we're sticking with MDOT's requirements. This is a city project. What's the reason to vote on it tonight versus next month? Like, is it going to miss a construction season till 2027? Or is a 2-week, 3-4 week delay not going to dramatically alter our timelines?
Cynthia or Nick, is that something you are able to speak to?
Well, Nick, you can correct me if I misstate this. The contract will be coming to City Council on a separate resolution. And so the start of the work will not be delayed.
That is correct. The Construction contract is slated to go to City Council on the 20th of April. And the conversion to two-way isn't going to be something that happens until the end of the project, really. So it's not going to delay the project from continuing. I mean, we're going to start with the water main work, and the two-way conversion is going to be coming at the end, essentially. So yeah, it would not, it wouldn't hold up construction.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion to postpone?
Larry, I'm still showing that your hand is raised. Do you have any further comments?
I'll get it down. I'll get it down, I think.
Not a
Ariana,
problem.
I can't
Just wanted
see
to
it.
check.
Ariana, just so you know, I can't see it raised when you're saying that it's raised. So
I'm realizing that, so that's why I'm calling it out. So
okay, thank you.
yes.
And sorry, Larry, that we cannot see your raised hand. So we will then move to a vote on whether to postpone consideration of approving this resolution to be recommended to City Council. All in favor of the postponement, please say yes or raise your hand. Okay, Ariana, you have that? All of those opposed to the postponement, please say no or raise your hand.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't hear a vote from Commissioner Zecker. Is he?
I raised my hand to postpone.
Your video is not on, Commissioner Zecker.
Sorry, I raised my hand to postpone.
Thanks for catching that.
So I believe that motion fails. So would anyone like to move to recommend the resolution for approval or consideration by City Council? Brett and Commissioner Lee is seconding. Would anyone like to discuss before we move to a vote? Commissioner Koch. Go ahead.
Well, let's put it up on the screen. If we're going to vote on it tonight, I would like to look at it for more than 5 minutes.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Can we start at the top, please?
Larry, would you like it read aloud again, or are you comfortable that you?
I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Ooh.
So Cynthia, I don't think you need to read it then again.
Go ahead and move it down to the whereas clauses and the result clause.
Sorry. If I still have the floor,
Go ahead.
I would like to change the second to last whereas clause. I don't know what that means. Moving together towards zero debts. I don't know what that is.
That is the title of our transportation plan.
Thought that our transportation plan was titled Ann Arbor Moving Together Towards Vision Zero.
Let me double check. My apologies, but I can pull up our. Unless Suzanne, you want to jump in if you're still around.
Okay, while we're looking that up, Commissioner Jacobson.
I also had a question about the second to last whereas clause. I don't recall from the presentation what the connection to the Vision Zero plan was and in restoring two-way traffic to these streets. So I would appreciate staff to just kind of go over that one more time. I think it's one thing to state that something is not opposed to, certainly we're not going to do anything that we know actively is going to hurt our progress towards Vision Zero, but I don't feel like I have a firm grasp of how restoring a street to two-way traffic is proactively supportive of Vision Zero. So if you could just run through that one more time.
It's in an earlier whereas clause. It shows reducing speeding and crash severity for all road users. So that is one of our Vision Zero goals.
Because two-way streets, because it forces people to go slower. Is that the mechanism there?
Yes.
Yes. Pete, my apologies. I've made that revision that you asked for.
Thank you.
So this, I would like to point out that this resolution is, it's actually built on the template that we use for these types of one-way to two-way conversions, and it goes back to the resolution that we used when we did the one-way to two-way conversions on First and Ashley. And so we have been consistent in the way we develop this resolution for each of the street conversions that we use. So a lot of this language has been brought forward from that. However, what I can say is that it's creating a slower environment, and the speed reduction is really the crux of where we are able to see the reduction in crash kinematics and therefore the reduction in severity of crash outcomes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lee, I saw you had your hand up before. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that it was in our moving towards Vision Zero. So that was the right call with respect to the name of the plan. So thanks. All good otherwise.
Great. Any further discussion? Was that Commissioner?
Sorry, can I go? I think it would be better to say that it is our transportation plan. I mean, if we want to put that in there. Like that is in alignment with our transportation plan and we're moving together towards Vision Zero.
Is everyone friendly to that amendment?
Yes, for me.
Sure.
And if I'm going to put that in, I will also note that 820 is the carbon neutrality.
Any further discussion? Do we have a motion to recommend for council's review and approval the resolution as amended? Thank you, Brett, for the motion. Do we have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Jacobson. So any further discussion before we vote? Nope. Great. Okay, please raise your hand or say yes if you are in favor.
Yes.
Please raise your hand or say no if you are not. Okay, I think we have made it through our business items. You guys put me through the ringer on the first meeting. Yes.
If I may, I don't think we're going to get to the last two presentations, the 5-year plan or the in-person meetings. And so I'm wondering if you want to consider moving those once we get to that.
Yes, and I will ask again for help with Robert's rules. Do we need to vote on amending the agenda, or is that something I have the unilateral power to do?
It needs a motion to amend the agenda and can discuss it and vote on the amendment. Yeah.
Okay.
I move to amend the agenda to remove or delay or postpone the last two information topics tonight, which are Vision Zero 5-year project update and commission in-person meetings to future meetings.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Larry, or Commissioner Keeler. It looks like we're moving into discussion. Commissioner Hoke?
Can we please get the materials loaded up tonight or tomorrow? Presumably we do have them since we were planning on presenting tonight. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll move to vote then. All in favor of amending the agenda to move those two topics to a future meeting, please raise your hand or say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All those opposed, please raise your hand or say no. Okay, it sounds like we will then move to the information topic listed first. Mr. Hutchinson, please take it away for the engineering project process.
All right. Can you guys see my screen here?
Yes.
The presentation. Yes, thank you. Okay. I am going to give you a kind of a quick high-level overview of our road resurfacing activities, road improvements in the city, looking at the kind of overall process that we use for making road improvements, and then looking a little bit at what's going on in 2026. For some of you that have been on Transportation Commission for a while, this will some of the initial information will be kind of repeat, but I wanted to cover it for all the new folks as well. So, and I can get this to move forward. There we go. So first, a little bit of background. When we're talking about our typical resurfacing type treatments, just getting some basic language in here so everybody kind of understands what we're talking about. Three basic types of treatments that we're referring to. The first is pavement preservation, which is a non-structural treatment. It's surface treatments and crack sealing and things like that. And those are types of treatments that are done to preserve an existing pavement that's already in decent condition and maintain it. And then the other two are more structural treatments, restoration, which is removing part of the asphalt pavement, like milling off a couple of inches and paving back over that. And rehabilitation is removing the entire asphalt surface. And we're primarily going to focus on those second two in this presentation here. And why do we use all these different treatments? Well, that comes down to pavement asset management. And there's a link in the presentation here that can take you to some more information on pavement asset management. But the general philosophy of pavement asset management is to use the right treatments on the right time, at the right time for a given pavement. And that includes not only looking at replacing pavements that are at the end of their life, but also putting maintenance into pavements that are in the midspan of their life to make them last longer. And that's a key point in pavement asset management, not only doing what they call the worst first and letting your pavements degrade all the way down before treating them. So some of the core elements in these restoration or rehabilitation projects that we do, the main goal is, of course, repairing the existing pavement surface. Whether that's removing part of it or all of it, that's the main goal in these projects. Some curb replacement often happens with that too, as needed. That's usually to maintain proper drainage if the curb is settled or lifted out of place, trying to make sure that we maintain good drainage. And then the work done in these projects, these resurfacing type projects, is generally contained in the existing road footprint. So if the road was, we're not narrowing, widening the roads, things like that in general, although sometimes we might be building bump outs and things like that. Overall, the road is going back in the same footprint that it was in before. And these projects, there's very minimal data collection and detailed design. It's which allows us to do a little bit more work. You spend a little bit less time on the engineering and a little bit more time, and money getting things done. So they're relatively simple road projects. But that said, there are some opportunities for other things, just other than just fixing the condition of the pavement. Drainage, mentioned, fixing pieces of curb and gutter, but also some of the stormwater system, replacing and modernizing some of the storm inlets, and repairing some of the pipes in certain cases. Also, as we do any of these projects, any sidewalk curb ramps would be brought up to compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And then we have opportunities for the Vision Zero transportation plan, speed management, to try to achieve some of the goals with that. We'll look at any of our capital projects, will be evaluated to see if there are speed management opportunities there that should be implemented. We don't implement them on every street. We look for places where the need exists. If there's speeding issues, or if there are, near a school, on a route to a school or a cut through street or whatnot, we look specifically and implement those as part of the projects. And it could be speed humps like you see in the picture here. It could be raised intersections or crosswalks. It could be bump outs, depending on the circumstances. So how do we go about implementing all these projects? There's a variety of different ways that we do that. We have a couple of annual programs, the preventative maintenance program, which is those light level treatments that I was referring to at the very beginning, the cape seals and crack sealing and things like that, is all done under one program. And then we have our annual street resurfacing program, which this is where the bulk of a lot of our road work is done, especially in the local neighborhoods. We take a whole lot of paving projects and lump them together into one contract so that we can, get better prices from our contractors that way. And these types of projects are primarily road projects. They have very little utility work associated with them. It is mostly focused on the pavement surface and sidewalk ramps and things like that. We also have standalone utility projects where we will take utility work, projects that are in our CIP for utility work. Most of these are water main replacement projects, and we will, identify streets that need to be resurfaced and also need water main work and put them together into one project so that we replace the water main first and then resurface the road at the end. Obviously, that's a good way to go about managing your assets. We wouldn't want to go paving roads and then have to come back out a few years later and tear it up to replace a water main. So a lot of our road work happens through those types of projects as well. And then there's other larger standalone projects like major road reconstructions and things like that are kind of projects in and of themselves. With that, what work do we have going on 2026? Again, this is a quick high level overview. Some of the projects I'll talk about, we've talked about here already, and some of them are, summarized in our monthly update as well. But I want to highlight in particular a couple of links that are in here. The first one, the road construction link, goes to a listing of projects that we have on our website. To kind of show, what's going on in a list format with links to those various web pages. But the second one is even more maybe useful. The A2 Streets one, that goes to a web map dashboard. which will show visually on a map of the city what's going on with the clickable links on each of those projects that will take you to places. So gives a little bit more of a visual representation. And those are handy to have. So going into some of the projects, I mentioned our annual street resurfacing program. Again, this is mostly focused on neighborhood streets. And this year we're looking at about 23 local streets and actually 5 major roads in there that don't really have a lot of utility work on them. The map shown on this screen is, I don't know if that's all of the local streets shown on there, but it's probably most of them. Again, there's there's links to all of this on that web map as well. Water main utility projects was another category that I mentioned. We have a variety of those going on this year. Pittsfield Village, which started last year, is in phase 2 of that work, shown over on the far right there. We have our Arbordale and Sherwood water main project, Stadium and Pauline area. That's a very typical type project where we're replacing the water main and coming back in and doing we're following that up with a repaving. There's also some speed management elements to that project as well. Needham, Medford, Buckingham, same type of thing there in the Washtenaw Stadium area. And then Kingsley and Ingalls, we just talked about not that long ago here. We also have various major street projects going on. I'll just say right now, there's going to be a lot of stuff going down in the downtown area this year in terms of road work and other utility work, which is kind of highlighted on the map on the screen here. Work on Ann Street, Kingsley and Ingalls, Northview Thayer, the 4th Avenue project in front of the Blake Transit Center that the DDA is doing, and the Packard Road project. And I think you've heard about most of these projects, I think, previously. In addition to those, we're going to be resurfacing out of Northbrook, Oakbrook on the south side of town near Eisenhower and Maine. And that project is actually going to be a 3 to 2 lane conversion with the addition of bike lanes in that area. So lots of good stuff happening on all of these projects. And I'm not going to go into details on all of them because I know we've presented on them before and have included information in the monthly update as well. And then one of those big standalone type projects, phase 2 of the Nixon Road reconstruction, also is continuing on. I think just about to get started again here. By the time we're done with this year's work is between Blewett and just south of the Green Duvarn roundabout. By the time we're done with all of this, this 2-year project, we'll have 3 new roundabouts in that corridor, protected bike lanes, some shared use path, and crosswalk and lighting improvements on that corridor, which will be very nice. So that is everything that I have, and I will open it up for any questions that you might have. I should probably stop. I think I did stop sharing my screen. So, Brett.
Thanks as always, Nick. Always look forward to this every spring or winter, or whatever you want to call this. The neighborhood street resurfacing program. In the last few years, you talked about how the city was kind of segmented into something like 8 pie slices. It doesn't really look like we're locating all the work in one area as we have in past years. Is there rhyme or reason behind that? And then the second question is, does the dashboard show any for the neighborhood projects, the 23 or however many, does it show which are getting like speed management treatment, like bump outs or anything like that?
Sure. It's a little bit more spread out this year. The reason for that is that we had a lot of work that was coming up in sort of the Burns Park area, but a lot of it closer to campus as well. And there was too much to take on in the campus area all in one year. We wanted to split it into 2 years. So this year we're doing some of the work in that area, and we're also kind of doing some catch-up work on some other streets and other areas that have kind of fallen through the cracks in recent years that we wanted to get caught up on those. So that's the reason it's not quite as concentrated as it has been. There's also DTE work that's figured into that, which has been kind of the bane of our existence for the last couple of years, trying to get DTE out in front of us to get their gas main work done so that we can, have not have our contractors bumping into each other. So those are the two reasons. The links on that dashboard, all of those local streets will take you to the resurfacing website where there will be more details there. And I don't know off the top of my head what streets might have speed management treatments. I don't think there's a ton of them this year. A lot of the ones we have this year are, smaller dead end streets, fewer cut through streets. I know they've all been evaluated by the transportation team here. But I don't have specifics as to which ones. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Eric, you want to go next there?
Yeah, this is super timely because I had a neighbor asking me about Nixon Road because they saw the road equipment starting to get delivered over there. And I looked at the Engage site and I didn't see any updates yet. Do we know when that might start happening? And how are we going to communicate with the people about it?
Yeah, I will. I'll check on the website on that and check with the people that are running that to make sure that that's updated. I just saw a press release come through on that, I think today. I
Okay.
think it's supposed to start in the next couple of weeks. And I'll make a note here to make sure that the website gets updated.
Very excited about that.
Yeah. Rachel.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't think I was here for your past presentations. I'm fairly new about the pie segments. And because my question was about how streets are chosen each year. I mean, I understood what you said about, the maintenance versus the replacement, but yeah, would love to hear just a few more details about that. And then on a personal note, looking at the map, so excited for White Street and Rosewood. So thanks for doing that.
Sure. I could talk about this for an hour, but I'll try to give you just a couple of quick talking points. In general, we every 2 years we do pavement condition ratings on our entire street network, and we use that data and make decisions on where we go next. What we've done in more recent years over the past maybe 10 years or so is there's 16 zones that we've broken up the city into, and we use that data to determine where we go next, looking at not only streets that are in the very worst condition, but kind of in the next tier up, so that we can be doing, as I talked about with that pavement asset management, replacing some of those streets that are at the end of their lifespan, but also doing some that are not quite all the way down yet, so that we can do some rehabilitation work and some restoration work while we're in the same area. And being in that same area being in one area has a couple of advantages. The contractors like it better because they don't have to move their equipment around as much, and if they don't have to do that, we get a little bit better prices. And also, we come into one area, do most of the work that needs to be done in that area, and we're only disrupting the neighborhood once. So, that's
yeah.
very
No,
brief.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I will say, if you're doing Rosewood, then maybe you want to do Hearts, because that street is really bad.
There's a lot of needs out there, and I have to tell, especially this time of year,
Yeah.
season, I have to explain to a lot. We have so much money to spend and a lot of needs. So
For sure.
I would love to be able to do all the stuff that is in that kind of condition that needs it, but it's just, not possible to do everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pete.
Thanks for the presentation, Nick. Thanks for looks like Hutchins is on your.
We do have
plan?
a segment of Hutchins, yes.
Okay. I'd just like to observe that that's a very good parallel to 7th, that it has less traffic on it. There's a lot of bike traffic on Hutchins, and we're going to be very happy to use that. I'm wondering, in the process for developing these projects and like designing them, when do we get the opportunity to affect the speed? Like, I mean, if we're going to do something as ambitious as Northbrook and Oakbrook and going from 3 lanes to 2, like, how do we decide how fast cars should be going? And like that is should be in accordance with our Vision Zero idea that speeds over 20 are dangerous for vulnerable users. Like, how does that figure into the process? And then how do we make sure that we achieve it?
I might ask Cynthia to jump in on that one, if you're available there, Cynthia. Um, I mean, basically, as we're putting this stuff together, we're coordinating with the transportation team for any improvements that would be needed um, on those corridors to achieve those goals. And Cynthia is still muted, so maybe she's not available at the moment. But wait, there she is.
Yeah, I'm still here. You're gonna have to forgive me, guys. I'm coming down with something tonight.
Sorry to hear that.
So one of the things that we do, I guess, first of all, we have to acknowledge that for every capital project, there are transportation engineers and planners embedded in the design team. So we are always part of all of the projects that Nick's group is doing. And one of the first things that we do is we do look at what we have for the speed data. We were fortunate when we were kicking off the designs for this year's resurfacing program in that we had access to our urban SDK data as we were sampling it, and we were verifying that data set with existing data that we had. So we were able to easily check all of the streets. And in previous years, we've done more of like sampling on some streets. So we have a robust data set that we are able to check that. And based on that and in compliance with the council resolution to evaluate the need for speed management on all of our projects, we go through, we look for locations where speeds are not consistent with what we expect to have. And we implement speed management as we need to. Well, as Nick referenced earlier, this year's resurfacing program, we've got lots and lots of things that are smaller streets that are not going for as much distance. So we do not have as much of that work that's going on this year as we have in the past. And the designs that we have proposed and the lane reconfigurations that we have proposed for Oakbrook and Northbrook are expected to lead us to lower speeds on those streets. But with this being a resurfacing program, we're not doing major geometric revisions, like we're not changing horizontal and vertical curvatures.
Okay. All right. I mean, maybe that's something we should be considering doing, perhaps. I don't know. So also to your point about the city council resolution, I guess I don't remember seeing that in, for example, the Packard project, like specifically about the speed management or about the speed that we're expecting to go. And I asked about it. So like, can we be taking these opportunities to lower the target speeds that we're hoping to see down to Vision Zero, compliant speeds? If we have like, we know that 30 is fast enough to seriously injure a lot of the people who are in crashes or kill them. So I guess I'd like to encourage evaluation of that target speed. I'd like to add one other thing about construction, which is that I heard recently from a business owner on one of the streets that's part of A2R2 that construction is very hard on their bottom line, and I would like to know what I would like to encourage that construction projects like this and like the ones associated with A2R2 that we put extra effort into making plans for businesses and easy access to businesses, because one thing that I do not want is the difficulty of construction and the costs associated with it to business owners to be conflated with lost revenue due to A2R2, right? I want this to go as easily as possible for them so that that the difficulty of construction is not confused with the difficulty of lane reconfigurations. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Were there any other questions before we move on to the next item on the agenda? Okay. Cynthia, the apologies, as it definitely sounds like you're going in the wrong direction health-wise. You are up next for the staff report and update.
I'm going to go ahead and give the update real quick. I'm just going to focus on the biggest highlight we have to announce. We've been invited by Strong Towns. For those who aren't familiar with the organization, they're an advocate for cities of all sizes to be safe, livable, and inviting. And they also promote strong and resilient communities. They have something called a crash analysis studio process. And we met with them today. They were in town and they discussed the crash analysis studio process that they go through that is nationally recognized. And we walked them through what our process is. And we have a little bit of follow-up to information to provide to them. And we're going to be bringing forward some sort of public meeting that will include an analysis of the crash analysis process that we go through, as well as how Strong Towns help cities go through the crash analysis process. So we'll be announcing some sort of public meeting in the next few months. But we're real excited that they chose Ann Arbor to do this analysis with us. They have 10 cities that they're looking at, and we were chosen as one of them. So we're really excited that they're here. Yeah. And the only other big news is we are participating as part of a NACTO cohort. We were invited by NACTO to be one of 9 cities in the Midwest to go through monthly charrettes and each city gets to talk about a particular intersection that they're dealing with or a particular problem they're dealing with utilizing the NACTO bike design guidelines. And they've chosen Ann Arbor intersection to be at the conference in May. And we have 2 folks who will be presenting. Suzanne Flowers and Cynthia Redinger will be going as representatives of Ann Arbor. They're both participating in the entire cohort process, which is about 9 months long. It started a couple months ago and it goes through, I think, September. We'll be bringing back a report of the whole process to this commission, probably October. But our whole team has been able to participate as part of the cohort. So we're real excited to be able to be invited to participate in that as well. Both of these things hasn't cost the city anything. It's just because of the good stuff that we're doing here that we were invited to participate. So we were just really excited to be included.
Congratulations. Those are very exciting updates. Next, we'll move into liaison reports. So any commission member that sits on city council or another commission that wanted to share anything, now is the opportunity. Commissioner Briggs or Councilmember Briggs.
Yeah, thanks. So one big thing on Monday night, council passed the comprehensive land use plan, which was 3 years in development and one who knows all too well. So thank you very much for your incredible work there. And obviously we all know that land use and transportation go hand in hand. So it's going to be exciting to see us moving forward on implementation of a plan that's calling for increased housing across the city, along with so many other things focused in on affordability, sustainability, and equity. So that passed, and now move forward on implementation. And then I wanted to just very briefly address a comment Mr. Westfall called in earlier and articulated frustration that planning, or not planning, but that staff had recommended 25 miles per hour on Packard, and dissatisfaction that council had passed that and articulated that that was inconsistent with our Vision Zero principles. I have to say that I don't agree with that assessment. I am happy to see staff recommend that. I also don't think it's consistent with what we see on Vision Zero Network or NACTO in terms of the guidance that's being provided to cities. So just real briefly, there's quite a bit of guidance there on the Vision Zero Network. It's not that we all know the benefits of speed limits that are 20 miles per hour or under. The recommendation is not that every single road in the city needs to be 20 miles per hour. The speed for every 1 mile per hour of speed reduction, it's a 5% reduction in crashes. And so that's one piece of information from NACTO or from Vision Zero Network. They explicitly state that recognizing that the human body can only tolerate so much in a crash, the recommended maximum default citywide speed limit is 20 to 25. So that is an area where I think we do need to make progress in. We know that our limitations that we're facing in the state on that one, but there are recommendations around that it is appropriate for certain roadways to be 25, and NACTO also has guidance on this. I fully agree that we want to be focusing on our conflict points, but I think it is appropriate that we had a posted speed limit of 25 miles per hour on Packard. However, fully support our reduction, our goals to reduce speeds, but I think that staff was following best practice as far as I am aware on this.
Thank you. Any other reports before we move on to commission member communications? Commissioner McCready, I saw you came off mute. Was there anything you wanted to add before we?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Any commission member communications? Anything anyone's? Commissioner Lee?
Thank you. Just a quick heads up that the Ann Arbor Township also passed their master plan on January 20th of 2026. If you want to take a look at the township plan, it is at aatwp.org. Again, that's aatwp.org. As far as implementation of the comprehensive plan for the city of Ann Arbor goes, we are in discussions as it relates to what does the timing for that look like. Also, what does the process and the engagement look like as it relates to some of the changes that need to be made to the Unified Development Code. That is our current zoning code. So we are really currently grappling with it. There have been some different timetables kind of thrown around. The plan calls for full implementation, I think, within a 3-year period, but that we are really looking at beginning more quickly with implementations and setting out process roadmaps as quickly as possible. So just wanted to let everyone know, just between those two things, the Township Planning Commission also passed their township master plan, and the city of Ann Arbor's comprehensive plan will go through implementation, most likely on a text basis first, then with a map revision. So more to come on that. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you so much. Commissioner McCready?
It just triggered me to remember Ann Arbor Township is also doing a non-motorized plan, and we've reached out and we are coordinating with them directly on their plan in order to make sure that we have the connections that we're looking to, especially across highways. So we are in communication with their team directly, and we've offered to assist in any way we can. So I just wanted to, that made me think about after your comments.
Thank you. Any further comments or agenda items to add before we move to adjournment? Commissioner Hoke?
For an agenda item, there was an email in our in Legistar about difficulty with traffic calming related to ADA, and not much detail in there. That's something I would like to know more about or hear about in a future meeting, please.
Yep, we'll be getting out some more communication on that in the next week.
Thank you. Anything else before we move to adjourn? I don't know if I'm allowed to move. Am I allowed to move? Commissioner Zecker, thank you for the movement to adjourn, and a second from Commissioner Lee. And all in favor, please raise your hand. Say yes. Or say yes. Wonderful. I think that moves us to adjourn. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Nice job.
Okay, thank you.